What is the fundamental question you're seeking to answer?
So let's say you see someone shooting a gun, right? You want to see but you see the smoke from the gun, you see the bullet moving at great speed, but you'd like to see who actually shot it. Was it God? Was it Mother Nature? Was it some quantum fluctuation in the multiverse? And so we're trying to capture that, to take a picture of the infant universe, to take the earliest baby picture possible, using sensors that are sensitive to microwave light that we cannot see, that's invisible to us. We could capture a pattern which would only be present if the universe had a singularity, if it went through this incredible rupture of space-time called the Big Bang. The details of the experiment were worked out over several years. We realized we had to go down to the South Pole, to the bottom of the planet, a place that was only reached 112 years ago. And the enemy of what I'm trying to detect is water. Water absorbs microwaves. That's how your microwave oven works to heat up coffee. So we took that telescope there, we made an observation, we claim we detected that baby picture, that snapshot, that reverberations of the creation of time and space itself, called inflation. We were heralded around the world that this was the greatest discovery of all time in science, literally. There was just one problem. When we made this measurement, we were aware that we could fool ourselves into seeing what we wanted to see because we knew how important this discovery would be, but we kind of convinced ourselves that we had seen the true birth pangs of the Big Bang. But it turned out we didn't see that at all. Instead, what we saw were trillions and trillions of tons of dust in our galaxy for technical reasons that mimicked the signal of the Big Bang. And we were crushed. It's literally dust. We saw cosmic dust, the leftover byproducts of exploded stars.
I just want to be clear here,
Yeah.
so I'm, I don't want to move on until I fully understand. So you went down to the South Pole.
Yeah.
You looked up expecting to see these waves that show that the universe is expanding.
Yes.
What you actually saw, like lines of dust.
That's right.
Is that a simplified way of saying
Yeah.
it? But you thought you'd seen these sort of microwaves of the universe expanding.
Yes, exactly. It's simplifying it perfectly. We made this discovery, and then immediately, effectively in scientific terms, 6 months later, this is in early 2015, we basically had to admit we were wrong. And fortunately, for me and for the universe as a whole, I was very close with a man named Jim Simons. He was a monumental scientist, mathematician without peer, effectively. And he said, Brian, I've been thinking about this experiment, and I want to have a merger. So he put together this dream team, and we're still together to this day. We're building an observatory in Chile, not the South Pole, in Chile, to do what BICEP couldn't do.
BICEP being the telescope you built in the South Pole.
Yeah, that lost the Nobel Prize in my first book's language. And we're just now getting data. It got first light a month before Jim Simons passed away. And so we were able to show him the data that this experiment is seeing. I can't show it to you, as confidential as the diary is. You hope nobody's looking, but you don't know if anybody is. I can't show it to you, but the data is exquisite.
So what you suspect is the origin of the universe?
Well,
is it God? Is it some kind of strange cosmic reaction that took place for no reason at all? I know you must have a suspicion.
You know, if the universe began with a singular Big Bang, if it began on a certain day or it didn't, I just want to know the truth. The interpretation of it, that's going to be going on for, I mean, people are battling about, as I said, we thought we detected that signal, right? So we already have a simulation of what will happen when this is discovered for good. Finally, and no dust, right? We know exactly what the media will say. At that time, on one side of the equation were the greatest, religious thinkers and theologians of the time, saying this proves the existence of God, that God created the universe in a singular moment. Let there be light, fiat lux. That's exactly what the Torah, the Old Testament, the Bible says. So they said, it agrees with our hypothesis. On the other side, there were militant atheists, Richard Dawkins, other people saying this proves there's no need for a God. The universe came into existence, like you said. Meaningless quantum field of fluctuation out of nothingness proves nothing about God. In fact, it invalidates, literally, Stephen, there were people publishing articles in major newspapers everywhere. It proves God, proves no God. So it's not like I'm gonna think that I have the temerity to say I'm gonna be the final word or we're gonna be the final word. I know this is gonna resonate and echo through the annals of history, but at the same time, we could also see nothing. And that's the hardest thing, when you see nothing. The human mind doesn't like ambiguity. Like if you talk about something very non-controversial. Let's talk about abortion rights. Let's talk about trans rights. These are incredibly controversial things, right? So what does the human mind do? It selects a side. It says, no abortions. Abortions for everybody. No trans rights. Yes, trans rights. Immigration. No immigration. Yes, the human mind hates that. And for good reason. There's an old Yiddish expression. He who stands in the middle of the road gets hit by both sides of the traffic. So the human mind cleaves to one side or the other. I don't think, in terms of, religion or whatever, that will be the definitive final word on it. But it's sort of a privilege to play the game.